Hello and welcome to this short demonstration on using Power BI. My name is Jeff Black. I'm the Business Intelligence Team Leader at Wardy IT Solutions here in Brisbane, Australia. Power BI is comprised of four main components, and most of these components you will find are free add-ins to the Excel 2013. Excel 2013, of course, is the main tool that's used by more than 1 billion people daily around the planet. So the idea behind using Power BI is to give those users a familiar tool and extend that tool by using these four main components. There's Power Query to get your data, Power Pivot to model the data, Power View to view the data, and Power Map to display three-dimensional maps of that data to visualizing geographic coordinates. These components of Power Pivot and Power View are actually built into the Excel 2013 product. However, they can actually be installed, and Power Pivot can actually be installed into Excel 2010. Power View has been available in SharePoint 2010 and is also available in SharePoint 2013. Power View workbooks, once they're built in Excel, can also be uploaded to Office 365, and Office 365 is basically a SharePoint environment that enables users to interact with these highly interactive data mashups. Now, the world of data is changing, and what we need to consider is that to analyze a whole lot of data, we need to give users the appropriate tools to visualize that data. As you can see here, more than 1 billion Office users use Excel daily. And what we want to do is analyze our data in Excel, but we also need to have the additional components to discover that data and visualize that data, hence the need for the extra components of Power Query and Power View. Power Pivot, and of course, is used to model that particular data, and we'll go through a quick demo of how to use all of those different features. Once you've got the your Power BI workbooks ready, they can then be sent up to Office 365. So 1 in 4 enterprise customers are actually on Office 365 at the moment here. But what the Power of BI in the cloud, Office 365 obviously does for you, is enable you to share and collaborate between users within the organization on queries that they may have developed and created, and the models as well. Some extra things that are available with Office 365 and Power BI in the cloud is the ability to use this Q&A feature. Now, Q&A is an English language engine where you ask English questions of a workbook or something that's been placed into Power BI. And of course, you also have the ability to access mobile features. So if you need to visualize your data and interact with Power View visualizations with non-Windows devices, or any device in fact, there is the mobility option there to use standardized ways of transmitting these things across the internet. So you can interact with tablet devices and so on. Okay, so the focus here on this demonstration, of course, is going to be around analyzing information in Excel. We're going to be looking at discovering, analyzing, and of course visualizing. Okay, so let's start up our Excel and see what we have for you. Alright, so this is Excel 2013, and one of the first things we're going to look at, of course, if we just go across here, you can see that you've got Power Query and Power Pivot. These have been activated and enabled. Now, Power Query is a download that you can freely access from Microsoft, so if you use your favorite search engine to search for download Power Query, you can download the latest version of that from the Microsoft website. Power Pivot is a feature that's actually built into Excel and needs to be activated. So to do that, what we do is we go to the options, and under options we go to add-ins, and we'll need to go to COM add-ins and then hit the go button. And as you can see here, I've got the Microsoft Office Power Pivot for Excel 2013, and I've also got Power Map enabled, and of course Power Query. Now, Power Map again is another separate download, as is Power Query. Power View is just a feature to enable in Excel 2013. Once these features are enabled, you'll get these extra tabs across the top of the screen. Now, in the Power Query tab, which is the first component really that we use to discover data, we've got several different things that we can do. We can get data from a multitude of databases, okay, SQL Server Database Engine databases, as well as Oracle databases, and a new feature or new addition, data source that's been added for Power Queries since late last year, is the SQL Server Analysis Services databases. So you can access cubes and have those in a Power Pivot or an Excel workbook. We've also got some offerings from the cloud and, of course, many other data sources. You can see that we've got some access to social media, Active Directory, and even Exchange. Okay, so the other way to get data into an Excel workbook via Power Query is to actually use Excel data itself. So you can link that in, you can merge and append queries and do all sorts of wonderful fancy things. Now the link into Office 365 is this business over here. As you can see, I've got a Power BI section over here. I will need to sign into the Power BI site to be able to share my queries that I create here. I can see a list of queries that I actually will have here. So we'll have a look at doing some of that real soon. The first thing I want to show you here is this online search. Okay, online search is basically a similar to one of your favorite search engines. However, it will be accessing the data on those different pages. So there's a lot of different sources out there on the internet that you can discover. Let's have a look at something that's always think about population statistics. Okay, population by country. Let's do that. Okay, and we'll just run through there, and you'll see several sources of information come back. Okay, list of countries and their population. We've got a little sneak preview happening in here as well, and you can see that there's a few columns of source data that actually comes through here for us. So this is the actual current world population. Now if I wanted to do this or access the query and manipulate the data, I can either right click on this and go edit, okay, or load it directly into a workbook or load it into a Power Pivot model. We'll have a look at some of that very shortly, but let's just go edit on the query. This will open up the Power Query window for you. Okay, all right, and you can see here to work with the Power Query query, it's very similar to working with a worksheet. Very straightforward. For instance, I don't need this key column, so what I'll do is I'll simply right click on it and go remove. Okay, and we'll see I've got a lot of different query steps over here as well as we go through and do these things. Now, we don't need dates out there, and we don't actually need the sources. So what I'm doing here is just selecting them with Control key and then removing those columns as well. You'll notice that we've got some percentage numbers in here, and if we scroll through and have a look at the sample set here, okay, we should actually go and say that they're actual numbers. So if you go into the data type text number here, we can say that's a decimal number, and that will go through and tell us that there is an issue with converting that with the percentage sign. So what we're going to do here is just remove that change type business to revert back to where we were. Now what I'm going to do here with this is actually remove that percentage sign, because that is something that is actually causing the conversion issue. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to the actual column over here, and we're going to replace some values, and I'm going to be looking for this value called percent, and replace that with nothing, and then we'll go OK. That'll remove the numbers, and now we can go over to here and change it to a decimal number. Okay, and then of course now it's up to the visualization tool to also put the percentage symbol out there as well. Very similar with the population. The actual population is a number, and this should in fact be a whole number. So what we can do is change the data type over here and make that a whole number. Okay, and of course it's up to the formatting now to do that. So there we have the list of countries by population. I'll just rename the query out here called list of countries by population, and we're going to go and save this. So when I go and close and load to, I have the option here to put it into a table in the workbook, just create the connection, or load it into an existing worksheet, new worksheet, or add it to the data model, which is the Power Pivot model. Okay, so I'm going to only create the connection for this and add it to the data model and just load that in. Okay. Alright, so what that'll do is go off and get the data for me. And we've got 243 loaded. Okay, there's an error in there, but we'll deal with some of that later. So where did that query go? Well, if you have a look here, there is no data in the workbook at the moment. But if I go to Power Pivot and then hit Manage, this will open up my Power Pivot window. And in Power Pivot, here is where I can access the data that's in there. And of course, do all of the things that I want to do. Now, the idea with using Power Pivot is to create models. Okay, now the models of basically a way of aggregating data, doing all sorts of totals and things like that, and it's very similar to working with an Excel spreadsheet. However, the big difference is that we're not working with ranges of cells, we are working with entire columns, and we are talking about we're working with entire columns and entire tables themselves. Down here might look like a workbook, okay, or worksheet. It is in fact a table. Now we can verify that by going to our different views. If we go to diagram view over here, we can see that there's a table, which is the traditional looking table that's been created there for us. Now if that data changes in that data source, now this is coming from the internet, but it could come from anywhere else really, Exchange or Facebook, or even Access databases, or even the likes of analysis services, Cubes. If I want to update that data, what I simply do is I just go and refresh the query here. Okay, and what this will do is actually go off over the internet, refresh, repopulate the data there for me. Okay, so that's all well and good. What I can do with this is do some things like, I don't know, create a pivot chart, okay, in the existing worksheet. All right, so I can then get a list of countries, and we can see the country and the population. Okay, now we probably want to do some filters and things like that. Okay, but you can see there's a few little spikes and things there. So that's just a quick little visualization of what we would do to analyze the actual model that's out there. Now, it does take a little while to build these models, and we should actually spend a little bit of time to actually go and create a model. So I'm just going to delete that one there. And what I'm going to do is switch back to the Power Pivot window. And from Power Pivot, I'm going to go from a database. So I'm going to access some data out of a SQL server. Now, this will be my local server. I'm just going to use the dot as the alias for it. And I've got a database here, the AdventureWorks Data Warehouse. Now, the AdventureWorks bicycle manufacturing company is a sample database that you can download from the internet. Codeplex.com is a good place to get it. But as you look through here, you'll see that this is a dimensional data warehouse using the Kimball design methodology. What we're going to see here is a couple of different fact tables. I've got reseller sales data, and I've got internet sales data. What I've decided to do is just go to the internet sales, and what I'm going to do here is just give this a friendly name. And I'm going to use spaces and things out there for that as well. Okay, now we also have some date information in here as well. So we're going to see our sales by dates. We're going to put that in there. We're just going to give that a nice friendly name. Now, one of the things that you will find here is when you're working with data warehouses, we have a very large amount of data, and it's probably a good idea to filter it. So we remove the added impact on our resources. Now, if you have a look through some of the data here, as we can move through, we can do similar things with Power Query, of course, but we want to have a look at the actual date keys, the full alternate dates. These from the 1st of July 2005. That's fine, we'll have that. We've got the English day name. We don't actually need that. Now, there are several columns in here that we don't really need. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn them all off and just turn the ones on that I need. So I need the actual date time and the date key, so that links to the fact table. We don't need the day number we don't need the Spanish day number, we don't need the French number, we don't need the day number of month, okay, day number of year, week number of year. English month name is something that we'll need. Okay, the Spanish, French month name, no, that's fine. Month number of the year is what we'll need as well. We've got calendar quarters, okay, and we've got the calendar years out there as well. So we'll have those because that's to create a hierarchy to be able to drill through actions into our analysis. That's what we need to look at. Okay, so there's just a few columns, and we've got some applied filters happening out here as well. All right, now the other thing that I want to do is get hold of some products. Okay, so I'll go into my products, and because I want to see what we're actually been selling over the internet. So we're going to go preview and filter on this. Okay, and again, what we're going to do is turn off all of the columns and then just turn on the relevant ones that we need. We've got the product subcategory key, going to need that. We're going to link those things up together. And I think really what we just need here is the English product name. Okay, so there's a few other things in here, like the list price, I suppose. We could actually do some averages and minimums, maximums. There's also binary information here if I want to see some pictures. So let's bring that across as well. Okay, so we've got the information about our products and whether they're actually available or not. Okay, I'm going to also bring in the category, and I'm just going to call this category. Okay, and we'll do the preview and filter on this one. Okay, so we don't need the alternate key, we just need the English category name. Okay, product category, that's the one. Okay, if you ever want to check your filters, you can click on applied filters here, and this just shows you what columns you've got. Alright, and we also want the subcategory to finish off the hierarchy here. And we'll preview and filter this, and we just want the product subcategory. We don't want the alternate one, we want the English subcategory name. We don't want the Spanish name, we don't want the French name. Okay, and we're going to have the product category key. That's okay, so we can link those tables together. That's all very good. Okay, so we've got our dates, we've got our products, we've got our product categories, and we've got our internet sales facts. Okay, so we'll go and finish that one off. And what this will do is now go off to the SQL Server and grab hold of all of that information there for us. As you can see, we've got a fair amount of internet sales for all of those different products. Now, when I close this off, we'll see that the model is here. So what we'll do, whoops, we don't want to reset the layout. We'll click on those things, and we'll go to internet sales, and we'll organize this into a more familiar look and style. Okay, so we've got the product key over here, and this is the whoops. Okay, categories. Okay, let's put this over here. Let's grab the products over here. Let's grab the subcategory over here, and let's put the category over here. All right, so there we go. So we've got a bit of a snowflake business happening here. That's probably not the best as far as performance is concerned, but we've got a few fields in here that we don't really need to see. We've got let's see, promotion, currency key. I'm just selecting these with the control key. Extended amount, unit price, discount amount, product standard cost. Yeah, we'll leave that. Okay, the sales amount, the tax amount, the freight amount, yes. Customer purchase order number, don't need that. Sales order line number, sales territory key, oh, we might keep that. Oh, no, let's take it out. Okay, order quantity, unit price, don't need that, don't need the extended amount. Okay, I just want to look at the total sales figures, and that'll do it. So I've highlighted those, and what I'm going to do is just go delete. Now that's the same as actually going into the filter when you get hold of the data and just removing the columns by hitting the check mark. Now we don't need this one out here either, so let's just remove this entire table. That'll delete the entire table from the model. Okay, so we're just going to work with this one here. Now this is in the diagram view. Now what I can do is actually go to the data view, and I can go and create some measures and things now. So my sales amount, okay, I want to make as a new measure called revenue. So what I'm going to do here is just go up to the aggregation functions, and I'm going to choose sum. And what this has done now for me is created a new measure called the sum of the sales amount. I actually wanted to call it revenue. Okay. All right. Now the other thing that we can do with this is create things like other measures for calculating the profit, the total cost. Actually, let's do that one here. That's the sum of the total cost. So if I wanted to create the profit, okay, I could go profit, okay, use the appropriate formula here, which is going to be the sum of the revenue minus the sum of the total product cost. So all up, over all time, that's the actual amount of profit that we've made. Okay, cool. So we've got revenue, we've got profit, we've got total product cost. Now down here in the bottom part of the window, this is what we call the measure pane. There's a whole lot of cells. It looks like a worksheet, but it's not a worksheet. If we copy and paste cells across, okay, it doesn't update formulas and things like that, okay, because we're working with entire columns and the entire data set. So we're just going to delete that one out of the model. So what do I do with this now? Well, if I click on pivot table, this will take me back to the workbook. We're going to go to existing worksheet here. we'll just turn off the workbook queries here. Okay, and you can see here on this pivot table that's been created, and we should actually take a little bit more care on placing that. If I go to internet sales, we can see that we've got the sum of the total product cost, there's the profit, there's the revenue measures. Okay, yes, we need to do a little bit of formatting, but we can fix that real soon. But if I want to do this by, say for instance, by category starts with C, alphabetically listed. Okay, I'm going to go English product category name. So there you go. You can see, okay, with a few little quick clicks, we've got some pretty intense analysis happening. Now, this is just for you know, a very quick one. If I do go back to here, you can see that we've also got this business here. So by calendar quarters, okay, yes, okay, so we're actually adding up the calendar quarters. So yeah, that's what you get when you do that. So you can see here that, oh look, we've probably got some relationships that are needed here. Now it is capable of creating the relationships, but we're not going to do that. So we're actually going to go back to the Power Pivot window and see what we can do with that. One of the things that we should do with the date windows here, of course, or the date dimensions, is actually mark these as a date table, so I can use the time intelligence formulas. Now, we need to mark a unique date time data type column, which is the full date alternate key, so we're going to have that one out there. And what I also want to do is just remove these and hide them from the client tools. They'll be used in calculations, all right, but I just want to make them hidden away. Also, the month number of years. So if we hide that from the client tools, this just will give us our month name. So let's just change a couple of titles in here. We're just going to double click on that, and we're going to call this calendar quarter. That's not very descriptive. It should say something like quarter 1, quarter 3. So what I'll do is I'll go and add a new column in here, and this will be just quarter. Okay, and what this is going to be is another calculation over here, which will be the text, okay, quarter and a space with a little ampersand, because I'm going to add this number over here. As I do this, you can see that instantly the calculations have actually come across here. So now I don't need that column. I'm going to hide that column from the client tools. Okay, we've got a calendar year. That's okay. Let's just change that to year. Okay. Alright, so now this is marked as a date table. We should be fine with that. So I'll go back to the Home tab and I'll go a pivot table again, and let's put on a new worksheet this time. Alright, so let's go to our internet sales. Again, we'll have our revenue and profit. Okay, or we should change the formatting on that. We'll do that when we get back there. Okay, and then we'll go to the dates, and we're going to see it by year. Okay, excellent. So we'll just grab hold of the year business and we'll put that on the row so we can see what that is there. And our categories, we had our English category name. We'll put that over on the columns. So there you can see there's a few blank bits in the data because things weren't, because the data is actually missing from there. There was no sales of those particular things at that time. But you can see with just a few clicks here, we've actually done some really interesting things. Now, if you want to drill down into the detail, what we need is to do some hierarchies. So again, what we'll do is switch back to the model, and we'll go into our diagram view, and we're going to do some drill down things. So I'm going to get hold of this date table here as well, and just select these things here. Okay, so with my control key, and then I'm going to right click and go create hierarchy, and this is going to be a calendar hierarchy. Okay. Alright, and we've got things out of order, so let's go year, quarter, month. That's fine. Okay, and now when I go and analyze this, so let's just switch back to Excel, and we'll do a refresh. Okay, this will refresh our model there for us. I'll take out the rows. We'll go and have a look at the date. We'll see now that we've got this hierarchy happening here. So if I go and put the calendar hierarchy out there, I've now got this drill through action working here. Excellent. Okay. All right. So and there's a little bit of formatting that we forgot to do on the total profit. So let's switch back to the window, and if we go to the internet sales one, you'll see that there's a little f(x) business here. If we zoom into that, you can see that this is actually telling me that that's using the function. Alright, now the language that we use to create these functions is known as DAX, D-A-X, which is Data Analysis Expressions. It's a formula language that's built on Excel, or derived from Excel formulas. Okay, very easy to use. There are a few thousand of them to have a look at, so get yourself a DAX reference to find out what they do. So if I go to my internet sales here, I need to adjust the properties of this. This needs to be currency. So I'll right click on it and I'll go format, and then I'll choose currency over here and then go OK. Alright, so as you can see, very, very powerful to get in here and start modeling some data. One other thing that I briefly want to have a look at is the ability to create a hierarchy within this product table. Now, I mentioned before that this Snowflake schema is not really conducive to high performance, particularly when you have a large amount of data. So what I'm going to do is basically use a technique that we call flattening the model. Subcategory and category are basically part of the products. There's a hierarchy in here. Now, one of the other issues that I have with this is that when I go into my analysis, I can see I've got too many tables to look at here. I just want to see the dates, the sales, and the products, but within the products I want to have that hierarchy, and I want to rename a few things in here too. Okay, so let's go back into the model. The first thing we're going to do is hide the product key, because we don't need that. In fact, all of these things in here, anything that's a key is just used to wire the different tables together. And let's see, subcategory key, we don't need that, we'll hide that one. Large photo, no, I just want to call it photo, we know it's large. Okay, and we're just going to go into here and go product name. Okay, just to rename those fields. Product subcategory key, let's see, English product subcategory name. Let's just go subcategory name. I'm not going to worry about hiding the different fields here, okay, because I'm going to do something else with this very soon. Okay, so we're going to go category name and product category subcategory name. Okay, so what we need to do is get this information into the product table and this information into the product table so I can create a hierarchy. The hierarchy can only be created in a single table. Right, so how do we do that? If we go to the data view and select our product table, we'll create a new column here and we'll call it category. Now this category is going to be using the relationship, okay, that it has to this other table here. So if I click on category and then click category name, it'll fill out the formula here for me. Okay. All right. And we're going to have this other column here, subcategory. Okay. And this is going to be similar, but this will point to the subcategory table. Equals related subcategory, subcategory name, close the brackets, and away we go. Now you might be looking at this and thinking, well, no, it's not actually working, there's nothing there. Well, let's just say that if it wasn't working, it would actually say error, just like it did in Power Query before. If I scroll down, you will see that, aha, now there's some categories and subcategories. Now with these, this is the actual data. Okay, if we look at some of these things here, the accessories that they sell for bikes, you know, washers and nuts and bolts and tape and all those sorts of things, don't actually have a category. So they're in the miscellaneous elements that are left over. All right, so that's why we're not actually seeing any data there. But it's important to note that those calculations are actually done then and there. There's no requirement to refresh or reprocess like you would with other models. If I go back to the diagram view, I've now got my category and subcategory out here, so I can create a hierarchy from that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is select the two fields, and we've got a button over here this time called Create Hierarchy, and this is going to be products or just categories. Categories. Okay, and what I'm going to do is drag and drop those onto categories. Now, what I'm going to do with this is, of course, also hide those fields, okay, in the top level of the product. So they're only accessible in this categories hierarchy. Okay, so now that I've done that, there's no need for these tables here. So I'm just going to select those and just hide them. Now, when I say there's no need to actually see them, okay? But they still need to be in the model. Okay, so and now when I switch back to the workbook, okay, and then go refresh, okay, yep. All right, and we now have simplified the model. Okay, we've got the product, we've got the categories over here. So let's go and put those categories into here so you can see, bikes. Yeah, it's getting a little messy. Let's just get rid of that calendar hierarchy over there. All right, and we can see that the formatting has come across. We've got the, there we go, the different bikes. So we're drilling into all of the detailed data that's in there. Okay, excellent. All right, so the other thing that we need to do, of course, we just have a quick look at this. Let's take the calendar back in there and put the calendar back to rows. And if we expand one of these here, for instance, we've got, what's this? Q2 is April, June, and May. No, it's not. That's actually alphabetically listed. It's not listed in the order of the month. So we'll need to go back into Power Pivot here, and we'll go to the dates here. We'll click on the month, and what we're going to do here is actually choose this button over here. Now you'll see that when I've selected this date business here, that this sort by column is not available. I can't actually use some of these things here while I'm in diagram view. I create hierarchies in diagram view, but I can't do that in data view. So if I go back to data view, okay, all right, so I can click on the month now and go sort by column and say sort by the month number of year. Okay, and now when I switch back to the workbook, you'll see that instantly we've got April, May, June. So everything is all nicely now in order. Okay, all right, so our model is just about ready to start doing some visualization on. Okay, so we'll leave that there for the moment, and what we're going to do here now is go into the Insert tab. Now on the Insert tab, we've got Power View. So if we click on Power View, remember this add-in was enabled earlier on. Okay, and we've got options to send smiley faces and all those sorts of things, so we'll just dismiss that for a moment. Okay, and we'll see, here's our models. Now instead of having all the numbers and things out there, we can actually have the likes of graphs and charts and all those sorts of things out there. So let's go to this, let's have a look at our profit and revenue. Okay, and we're going to see this by the year. Okay, so we're going to calendar year. All right, so there it is there over the different years. Okay, depending on the order that you put these things in, okay, that's what it comes up to. All right, I'm just going to go some clustered columns, and we'll see that here's our profit and revenue. Okay, so a nice quick and easy visualization to show us what's out there. Now we've also got some other things that we can do. If I want to do some things by, I don't know, for instance the category. Okay, I want to go and put the category out there. This will create a new table here for us. Okay, and in our Power View, let's grab hold of this. Okay, what I can do is actually turn this category into what's known as a slicer, okay, which is a fancy filter. I want to see just for bikes. Okay, so yes, there was a fair bit of revenue for bikes because they are a bicycle manufacturing company. But if you look at clothing, okay, clothing only came online in 2007, and components, there's not much profit in components there. Okay, accessories and anything else that's blank that's left over. Now that's one way of doing a filter. Okay, so I'll just click on that and delete that. Another way of doing a filter is to actually go and drag it into this filter section. So I can see just for bikes and just for accessories, and you can see that we've got some interesting things happening in here. There's all sorts of sorts and things that you can do in here too. Something else that we can do with this, if I go to product, okay, you'll notice that we did have that large photo in the product name there. So, you know, it's all about visualization and making things look really cool and putting pictures out there. So what I'll need to do is go back to my model now, okay, and we're going to do some enhancements to the model by going into the file menu here. First of all, we'll switch on to this advanced mode, which will give me this advanced tab. All right, and I've got a button here that says table behavior, and you can see here that I've got the row identifier, which will be my product key. The product key, keep unique rows for that. The default label will be the product name, so whenever I put that out there, and the default image is going to be photo. So if I go OK, that's now prepared the model for me to be able to do those visualizations. Okay, and you can see here the data model is changed when I switch back to PowerView, and I'll go OK. Alright, and now when I go product, you'll see that I've got the product name and the photo out there. So if I go and choose photo, okay, there's a few photos in here that, well, pictures of bikes, and there's also pictures of components. So yeah, I can go in here and make some changes to some things. You can see here are some pictures of components and things, but by altering the properties within the model, I can enhance that visual appeal of those different things there as well. Okay, so probably a good idea to save this workbook. Okay, so I'm going to save this under my SQL projects, and we're going to call this one AdventureWorks Internet Sales. Okay, all right then. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is just a brief little overview of Power Map, and then we'll have a look at Office 365 and Power BI Online. Okay, so we're finished with that workbook now. We'll close that one off. Okay, and what we're going to do here is open another workbook that has some data in it. Okay, and this data, of course, is well, it could be data coming from Power Query, it could be data imported from a database through a Power Pivot model. That's all fine, but in this case, it's just a table that I've gone and inserted here. And you can see that we've got a whole lot of information. We've got some date time information. We've got some descriptions of energy types and companies and states and counties. So here is this is one of the examples that I've downloaded that show you how to visualize this data in a three-dimensional map. Okay, so if I go to the insert menu, you'll see that I've got this map business here. Okay, this is Power Map. This is an additional download that you must install and activate as an add-in to Excel. So when you go launch Power Map, what this will do is actually show you a map that's already been opened up. Okay, so a Power Map presentation is actually referred to as a tour. So we'll click on the tour, and this will open up the Power Map editor window for me, okay, on the screen here. Okay, so we have different scenes that we can apply here. You can see here that we've got the different field names that we've got. So we're going to go state and county as the geographic coordinates for this, and we've got some little annotations and things in here. Alright, so basically if we do some zooming in, you can actually see that these are all the different data points. This is just a distribution of the different counties across the different states. Okay, so what we then do is create some other charts, some other layers on top of these scenes to show the number of power stations and the type of power that's actually used. Okay, now what we can also do with these is provide some animations across there as well. So we can focus on different areas of the map. This is the Pacific Northwest, okay, and what sort of power is out there. And we can go through and keep adding the scenes and the different layers and different types of maps and things here. Okay, so this is a time-lapse business here that we've got. Okay, so there's another one over here that will actually show you the energy source by states changing based on that data that's out there. Okay, so what we can do here is once we've created our map, our geographic map, we can then go and play this tour, and this will basically recording all of the movements that I have in the mouse. We've got flyovers and all those sorts of things. Now it takes a little bit of time to actually go through all of this. Alright, but one of the things that we can do with Power Map is to actually record a video from this and actually embed the video into the likes of a PowerPoint presentation or something like that. And of course this is all visualized on the through the web interfaces as well. Okay, so we'll just stop that there. Okay, and here is how you actually create a video. All right, so the end result of this is an MP4 video, and this is what it'll look like. So this way we can actually skip through things. Okay, so you can see the way that the 3D map is actually changing, focusing on different areas. Okay, highlighting different parts of the data on 3D map, and there it is there. Okay, and here it is changing over time. So you can see as we get more modern fuel sources out here, you can see there's some nuclear appearing out here too. Okay, so as the and that's mid 40s. Okay, as we keep going through, you'll see there's an interesting trend happening over here with hydropower in the Pacific Northwest. Might have something to do with mountains, I think. Okay, so we can keep going through here, yes, and this is the predominant energy sources by state. Okay, so you can actually have full state maps. Okay, and all of this geocoding is handled automatically for you, as long as you've got the locations out there as well. So that's the sort of thing there. So yeah, there's some interesting insights that you can get with Power Map. Okay, now Power Map is actually part of Office 365. Okay, so I've actually gone and connected to my Power BI sites from Office 365. Okay, and what we have here is some reports that I've put up beforehand. Here is where you can ask questions with the Q&A, and these are some reports that I've prepared earlier. So now if I want to go and find some of those reports or interact with some of those reports, with Power View reports, you can see there is a fuzzy outline of them in the background. So if I go to my Power BI here, this will show me some of my favorite reports. Now this is using the browser, and of course there is also a Windows Store application that enables you to do these here as well. So there's my population growth statistics Power View. I've got a Power View here. I've uploaded this workbook, which is a Power Pivot model using some Power Queries to extract some statistical information from the MotoGP website. If you click on this one, okay, something can go wrong. Okay, very good. Okay, so unfortunately I've broken my MotoGP world titles, but what I can do is show you in this the workbook source. So what I think we may have to do is refresh that report online. So here is the MotoGP World Standings workbook. This has just been uploaded into Office 365. Okay, so what I've got is some nice graphics out here. I've got some charts, and all of this is all interactive, as you can see. Who's won the most on Hondas, who's won the most Danny Pedrosa, Valentino Rossi. Okay, there's lots of different things that we've got Valentino Rossi on. Of course, he's Italian. Okay, so we can go through here, and we'll just turn off the filters for this. So we've got a background picture, all that sort of stuff out there, and this has just basically been uploaded to the Office 365 site, so I can interact with it there. So here's the information that we've got. Here's the different years of the MotoGP results that we've got out there, and if we look at our Power Query and then go show pane, you'll see that we've got the MotoGP results there. Okay, so there's a bit of firewall information that needs to be done there as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll attempt to upload this one to see if we can see it online in Office 365. Okay, so once I've uploaded this report, I can then go explore the site. This will give me a list of all of my Power View reports. Once we load. Okay, if we scroll down through the list here, you can see that this is how we go and add those reports. But here's the MotoGP World Standings Power View report that we created with Power Query. Yep. Okay, and that's the PowerView report that we're looking at in the workbook, actually online. Now you will have noticed that the little blue circle indicated there is telling us that that was actually loading Silverlight. There's a button down here where we actually turn this to HTML5. So the HTML5 version allows us to access this over multiple devices. And this, of course, is fully interactive. If I can click on the different maps here, you'll see the others changing. So who's done well on Ducatis? Yeah, lots of Spanish people. Oh, there's a few Aussies in there. That must be this Casey Stoner bloke. So we'll click on here and we actually see that he's won on Hondas and Ducatis as well. Okay, so that basically concludes this short presentation on using Power BI. There are some other tools and features and things that you can do for the administrative side of things with Power BI online. And then, of course, there is also some new tools that are being available as we speak. If you go to the powerbi.com website, we can access the new Power BI preview, which is a dashboard where you can use Power Queries and create Power View reports without the need of using Excel at all. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy using Power BI.